All right, episode 5 of Fritter Hollow, and we are now live pretty much everywhere. The podcast is live on most major podcast distribution outlets, as well as our website, fritterhollow.com. And on the website, you'll find all the links you need, a couple photos of us, some blurbs, and a contact. You can contact us at hello@fritterhollow.com. You can also link to that through the website. How are you? I'm here with Dan as always.
Yeah, I'm good. I had a kind of an eventful week in terms of mind-blowing experiences. Last episode, I took some of the things that you said maybe a little too close, and it kind of exploded my brain. Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll talk about that probably first after we talk about the vibe coding we just did of the website.
Yeah, that was another mind-blowing experience for me. First time watching that.
Dan and I literally just vibe coded the website not half an hour ago and put it live, probably 10 minutes ago?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of our first iteration, and we're just sort of still taking it all in. But I'm pretty happy. The one thing about it that I like the most is your contribution entirely. Was to have ChatGPT write it in a way that was DIY and hacky.
Yeah, little hacky, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that those two words, really actually ended up shaping the look and feel of it.
The look and the feel it's really convincing. I mean, I've been a part of or did myself well over 30 website projects over the years, and with a variety of different platforms and software packages back to the days of Adobe Go Live.
Yeah.
In '98.
Yeah.
And when this popped online, and I looked at it and I thought, yeah, wow, okay. I mean, I'm out of a job. All right, But,
well, somebody's got to instruct the coding agents.
Fair enough. I mean, and that's where it is. I mean, I do notice that some of your workflow though is kind of like really specific to IT processes. There's some Unix stuff in there that people, if they don't know, if they're not familiar,
right.
The use of GitHub, I think, is really not only super smart, but that's beyond the average bear.
Yeah, and I'll say to that, I am far from a developer. I wouldn't even categorize myself really as a hobbyist developer, but I have just enough experience with, like you say, the Unix, Linux world, with the GitHub world, with the Python programming world, with HTML and CSS, a basic JavaScript. I've constructed WordPress sites before, nothing I would ever sell, but I've done it. I deal with not podcast hosting, with website hosting for our business email, other stuff. I have just this hodgepodge and some ChatGPT skill. So I have just enough skill and experience with a wide enough array of things that I can pull this off. The vibe coding thing, I think, fairly efficiently.
I was duly impressed, but I think you don't want to sell yourself short. I would call you maybe sort of just into the advanced area. You know what I mean? You're definitely experienced. You definitely know. You're drawing from a lot of different. Not just knowledge bases, but actual real-world experiences.
Yeah.
There was at no time during this process did you stop and have to look up something.
That's true. Yeah, I'm in a funny spot. I think I'm in a spot where just by doing my normal workflow, I think I would confuse a beginner, and I'm in a spot where I could have a conversation with somebody that's more advanced, but I'm not at a place where I could compete at an advanced level.
Yeah, but that comes and goes. There was a time a number of years ago when I was building server clusters.
Right.
With my own custom firewall appliances.
I couldn't do that.
Right. I couldn't do it now either.
Yeah.
I've forgotten, more than I know.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. But I know what I don't know, and I could look up what I don't know. And that's the difference, I think, between somebody who has the experience and not.
Well, I learned that skill dispatching taxis 30 years ago.
Okay.
At some point, it's not about the information you know off the top of your head. It's the ability to get any given set of information quickly and accurately.
Well, and I think that's the world we're living in now. At least that's what we've been told for the last maybe decade or so.
Especially with AI.
Yeah, is that you don't need to retain all of those facts and figures and and tips and steps and all that kind of stuff along the way, because all that is just it's literally at your fingertips.
Yeah, the skill becomes knowing how to get it, what to ask for, what you need and what you don't, how to optimize it.
And I think that is a way more valuable skill than actually being sort of in the trenches of, well, that's not the command for that. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, well, thanks for pointing that out. I would have figured that out in a couple seconds now, And but I mean, like, just I guess moving on from here, sort of a young person, like if you're considering, university or like why would anybody get a degree now? Like, I mean, I think that age is like it just ended abruptly, in 2025. Like, why would anybody go get a degree
Degrees
now?
for a long time, in my opinion, have been just as much a process of elimination as anything else, a way to thin the field.
Yeah, fair enough.
Like, if you're going to hire somebody to, serve French fries and a hamburger, you don't want 400 applications. Just requiring a high school diploma eliminates half of them.
Sure. But I mean, the like as a form of credentialing, it was a little bit of elitism as well. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh, I've got a master's. Oh, okay, I've only got a bachelor. I guess you're better than me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there was a lot of that going on. But I mean, that just hit a brick wall, like full force.
Yeah.
And I mean, now what do? It's just like, oh, is that right? Well, I've got 15 PhDs at my fingertips here with ChatGPT. Now, granted, I mean, there's still some errors and some, hallucinations and different things like that. So you can't trust it outright, but it's getting close.
Yeah, and you get like, you can, the way I look at it, like with every project that I've used ChatGPT to help me with so far, and I've done everything from podcast writing to writing songs to learning how to use software to building websites with it, even more. In everything I've done, I've come to realize that ChatGPT will instantly take you 80% of the way there. It's that last 20% that takes all the time. It's those refinements, those catching those errors like you mentioned, and refining it, getting it perfect. That is such a better way to work. It really is. To instantly get 80% of the way there and spend all your time making it perfect, that's the way to work.
Yeah. I've been getting into a podcaster lately who came from a similar background as us. He was doing, he had a media agency. He lives in the UK. And he had a media agency and was coding websites for people for a long time. At one point had a team of about 40. So it was a good medium-sized business.
Yeah.
And now he's not doing it anymore. He's full-time podcaster on YouTube. Has some pretty impressive guests. He's got a pretty good style too. It's good interviewer style. But he was just saying in this last one that I listened to last night, he was just saying now that he's just now gotten into the vibe coding of websites, and he says of apps, and he says he's able to build agents that would represent each of the department heads or employees in his old agency. So he's kind of recreated his agency with AI agents. I have to get careful not to mash my words up here because they're similar words. And what he has is he's got some sort of a script, I guess, almost like a Bible of his company, air quotes, where it says, okay, your job, agent, for this is to look after these two agents and make sure that they don't make any mistakes. And so he's got this whole orchestra of AI agents now working for him. And he says he's probably spending about 15 hours a day now on this aspect of his business. But he's doing what he would have done with an agency of 40 people all by himself.
That is something.
Boom.
I'm intrigued
Head
enough
explode.
by that I'm going to try to think of ways for me to try something similar, just as an experiment, almost. Like,
I know you're kind of
Create your own little team.
you're kind of on a sabbatical from YouTube, but this might be a worthwhile. You can listen to it as a podcast. I mean, there's nothing needed. You don't need anything from the YouTube experience that you would get from a straight audio podcast, unless you need to see their faces.
Share it with me.
Yeah, and I will. But it really opened my mind up last night to the particular guest he had on is an author who's been talking about sort of the coming AI apocalypse and whatnot. But he's got different ideas and theories about what AI apocalypse means. That's far from the standard pundits that are out there proclaiming that they can tell you what's going to happen next.
Well, here, pitch it then. Tell me who are we talking about?
I haven't been sleeping lately because I've been so my head I don't have that power of recollection straight up, and I don't want to mess it up. But I'll give you the link, and you can. I would listen to it.
Yeah, maybe I'll try to bring it up next.
Unfortunately, it's long. It's over 2 hours, but it's one of those podcasts where it's so well worth listening to again and then maybe even again. Yeah. So I've listened to it twice through now. I'm definitely going to listen to it a third time. And with notes this time. I'm going to actually have a notebook and a pen and just keep jotting things down. But
Well, I'll listen, and
I-
hopefully it gives us something to talk about next time.
yeah. And I know that you and I are in different places when it comes to the whole AI debate. But I would say now that I'm willing to concede the hill to it, to what's coming.
Yeah.
But I myself am not. So in other words, there was a projection that the guest had given as to what will happen to people who don't participate, in the AI economy. Yeah. And two threads actually of thought. One was if you don't participate and you're left behind. The other is if you don't participate in that you're checking out, like you're like, okay, I'm unplugging, I'm going off grid.
Right.
And what you would need in order to survive what's coming if you choose that route. And I was particularly intrigued by that because it's been going on in my mind for quite some time now. I just didn't know how I was going to leave everybody behind. And I sort of do now. But that being said now, in terms of what you've been describing, and in terms of some of the people that I'm working with right now, I couldn't recommend any harder that they go all in.
Right.
Yeah. AI. Like yeah. As in, get me off the payroll, right? Because I'm dead weight, and I'm just making people, think twice about things they shouldn't be thinking twice about. And it's just like lean in heavy, and get it done now because the window is not going to be open long.
So a few things, I agree with you, but a few things I want to comment on. A, the fact that you're dead weight is ridiculous because you've got the experience. And people that are coming in and trying to do this, even with the help of AI, there are things where you just need somebody with the experience.
I will disagree, but that's
huge.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
I think in this case, experience is only saying, this didn't work. Like my experience tends to, as everybody's does, well, that's not going to work because of this. Or I tried that once and it didn't work.
Yeah.
As opposed to, I'm just trying to think now. I mean, sure, there's some little technical things that experience is good at. Like, oh, my experience with that design style is this. Hey, that made it better. As opposed to...
we opened up the show talking about how your suggestion to be DIY and Hacky was right.
Yeah. But
even just that.
For sure. But that can come from, a multitude of places. My concern right now is, that I'm full of fear and trepidation, maybe some FUD, and, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, for anyone who doesn't know the FUD acronym.
Well, I think we all have that.
I don't know. I mean, there's some people that are like they're heading where angels fear to tread. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like they're out there now. Like holy moly, and but yeah, I think that in this particular case, because I am philosophically against it, I think that won't help anybody. It doesn't matter how much experience.
No, it can serve as a good counterbalance.
And that's what I'm saying is no counterbalance. Like chuck off the counterbalance.
I don't know if I agree with that. Let me give you my take on
Let's
this.
see you spin off into outer space. That's what we need to do right now.
I view AI as dynamite. I actually look at it as dynamite.
Okay.
I view us as a construction company with dynamite. So dynamite is a very, very useful tool. It'll put us ahead of others that aren't using dynamite. But dynamite can also be used very destructively. We just got to try not to use it that way. And right, that's the way I look at it. And when you say that you want to opt out, a part of me does understand that. Like if I was to open up a pub today, and I could have any concept I want, it would be a no technology pub. We would spin cassettes or records. You wouldn't be allowed to bring your phone out of your pocket. Like that is what I would do. And I'm a big, as you know, proponent of technology and AI.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of pub I would open. So it's about finding that balance, right?
It's a good idea. I think that would catch on.
Yeah. That's the kind of thing I would do. And I think you are out of balance. I think you're a form of extremist to be on extreme on either side. To be like everything should be technology and AI, or to say that no, I don't want anything to do with any of it.
Well, I think it's a little bit like any of the revolutions we've had in the past, right? Like when the printing press came out. Like people were printing stuff that was just absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. And I think that's how we ended up making it back to the center. Yeah. But I think that when a new technology comes out, what is required of it is pure play. And I mean, if you give a kid, like you bring like Lego, for instance, like when Lego comes up with a new product, new design, the first thing they bring is in a bunch of kids set at a table, and they put it down there. It's like, can they figure out what this is for?
Yeah.
And it's like, wow.
And human nature being what it is, some of the kids are going to build bastardly things.
Yes, and from that you gain the insights as to what's possible, and that's what I'm trying to say right now is that, how we have worked in the past, we'll say since the mid '90s when we started to use computers.
Yeah.
I mean, some of us had them previous to that, but it's kind of like '95 is when I got my first email address from work, right. and a laptop. So I was kind of on the road then. From then on, it was a thing, and you have. So what would that be now? 30 years? 40 years? 30 years?
31.
31 years of working a certain way, under a certain set of assumptions, business as usual.
Yeah.
That really does need to be thrown out, like literally thrown out. And we are in a place right now where I think, well, this is how we used to do it. This is the analog version, whatever, is only going to hinder that play. And that's what I'm trying to say now. It's just like, man, it's like get the Luddites out of the room. Let the kids play.
That's tough to do. This is a little bit of a tangent, but it's where my mind went when you said that. I've had this long-standing theory that age 23 is very, very important in a human life.
Oh, okay.
And I'll tell you why. Yeah. I think by age, when you're first born and growing up and coming of age, what you're doing is learning. You're learning how the world works. You're learning how the systems we live in operate. You're learning in how to relate to people and your societal structure. But by the time you're 23, you've done everything a couple of times. You've had some experience, you're getting out there now, and the way the world works kind of settles in your mind, and you stop learning. You start doing. You start operating. You start, being a person, an adult, a grown person in our society, but you've stopped learning. Well, the world keeps changing, but you've stopped learning. And you hit a point. It's usually, I think for most people, the first major thing is sometime in their 30s, where they go to do something the way they've always done it, and then they're told it doesn't work that way anymore. And that's when the old bitterness starts to slowly creep in over the next few years, because you're not learning anymore. You've committed to memory when you were 23 years old, the way the world works, the way things are supposed to operate, and any change from that has the tendency to make you really, really pissy. Unless it's in an area that really isn't, unless it's in an area that really is an advantage to you, the change really, really helps. Do you kind of follow what I'm saying?
Totally.
And then so by the time, I'm 50 now, and yeah, some things bitch me out just because that's not the fucking way you do it, because I had this all sorted out when I was 23 years old and you changed it and it was an unnecessary change.
Yeah.
But in certain areas where it's really benefited my life, like AI, I'm all on board with it because I want to do all these things, all these creative things that AI is a really super duper tool for. And it saves me time, effort, and gives me a better result. So then I'll learn it. Then I'm okay with the change, right? Like I don't really want to go back to the way websites were built in 1997, but I didn't build websites in 1997. If I did, I might be like, well, this change is all bullshit. The world's going to hell in a handbasket. That might be my take on it. But because I didn't do that, and AI helps me do that now, as you saw this morning, so quickly and efficiently with a great result, I don't want to go back.
Yeah. So I've seen that behavior all around me my whole life, but I think I am exempt from it. Now, I say I think because I'd have to go back and put a microscope on my life and say, oh, no, that was me as well. But I've been, like my whole life, I have risen to the level of my own incompetence.
Right.
In other words, my whole life has been a series of glass ceilings. And each time I look, it's just kind of like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to reach that one. And then I did. And then I smashed it. And then there was another one. And I kept going up. And I was always doing jobs that I was too young for by standards. But managed to do them. And it was because I was in a constant state of learning. But once I learned how to do something...
And you were doing.
And I was doing. Learning and doing. That's right.
Doing is almost more important than learning. Like, you can get stuck in this mindset where you're like, well, I'll tackle it once I learn more and I think I'm ready.
Fair enough.
There's a place for that, but you can live there.
You're absolutely right. So it was doing, but the doing had a learning component baked into it. You couldn't do without learning. So on and on it went for 40 years. And I'm at a stage right now where it's like, wow, do I quit learning yet? Like, is it time for just doing?
Yeah.
You know, and that's sort of, I'm examining that concept, that idea.
See, you would agree though that doing that is dangerous. To just say, I don't need to learn anymore, I know how to do. You have to constantly learn at least a little bit.
Well, I guess it depends on what you want to do. But yeah, like the...
Well, you get left behind, right? Like eventually.
Very.
And
like,
that's...
Like you get off this train and there isn't another one coming in an hour.
And that's the backbone of my whole 23 theory, because that's what we do at 23. We get off. We don't want to learn a new way to check out our groceries at the grocery store.
Yeah.
We don't want to walk into McDonald's and have to use a fucking kiosk to order our food. Because that's not the way the world works in our mind. I remember speaking of fast food.
I think that theory is spot on.
Yeah, there's something to it.
Yeah.
I remember fast food drive-thrus when they started parking people. I don't know if that's happened to you. I don't think you're much for fast food, but have you been parked in a fast food drive-thru before?
As in parked and waiting for your order?
Yeah, you place your order and then you go up and you pay for it, and then they park you and say they'll bring it out to you in a couple minutes.
Yeah, that happened a few years ago.
Yeah, that's been happening for a few years, but it didn't happen at all for ages. I was 30 probably the first time that happened to me.
Okay.
And I was like, why? Why was it in 1996 I could place my order at the speaker, pay for it, and you'd have it in my car 2 minutes later and didn't have to park me. But now, with all this technology and all these years later, you have to park me. Things change, and maybe there is a reason for it, but it seemed unnecessary to me, and it pissed me off. But the kids coming up today, they don't know the difference. Another example, I go to movies a decent amount, go to the movie theater a fair amount. They never used to have ads before movies when you went to the movie theater.
No, that's right. I remember when that came in.
People would have walked out originally.
Offensive.
They'd be like, you're charging me $10 to watch this fucking thing and you're playing ads in the beginning?
Yeah.
Now it's literally 15 minutes of ads.
Yeah.
And people accept it. Yeah. And they justify it. I've had it justified. I've had people say, well, if it subsidizes my ticket price, I'll sit through the ads.
Yeah.
Yet ticket price is 3 times what it was 20 years ago. That's way beyond the level of inflation.
Oh, yeah.
You're getting home.
Yeah. It's a form of rug pull, and I mean, or shrinkflation or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I totally pick up what you're putting down there.
Anyway, you were going to talk about your week.
Well, there was a couple things. But first off, I was kind of shocked to find this. I'm holding a book right now. It's a small hardcover, like 165 pages. It's not a big book, but it's a memoir called "Eminent Hipsters" by Donald Fagen. And Donald Fagen, of course, was one half of Steely Dan. And
I didn't realize Steely Dan was a duo. It was a duo?
Well, it was a duo. It was Walter Becker and Donald Fagen and Walter Becker. But then it was a series of session musicians that joined them on each album. And some of them were invited back to play again. People like Larry Carlton or people like Jeff Skunk Baxter or whatever.
So it was kind of like a band that was managed by a duo.
Yeah. Or their record label. They would put them in touch with these different musicians who were just at the top of their game.
Right.
And it's interesting for 2 reasons. Number one is because I never thought he, being a very private person, would ever do a memoir. Yeah. And then second of all, it's a very interesting look into how he became Donald Fagen of Steely Dan. And I thought, I'm working on my memoir as we speak.
So am I, in a way.
Excellent, yeah. Well, yeah. You can maybe do a little progress update there too. Yeah. But I'm reading through this now, and I'm actually treasuring this book. And I will definitely read it again when I'm done. I'll just go right back to the beginning and read it again. But it's more of a testimony to how important it is for those of us who were before the age of AI, or even before the age of computers, that we do write our stories and how we became who we are. Because there's a lot of talk now about AI or the internet or the culture that we're living in or fighting against, depending on how you look at it. And the fact that it could even indeed be some sort of large psyop. Now, not that I'm a tinfoil hat type person, but it's like it is interesting, right? Because I mean, if you remember back in the days.
By the way, we have nothing against tinfoil hat people.
We do not. Absolutely not. Yeah,
Make
yeah.
that clear.
It's just that I don't consider myself to be that, so I have to be careful and
I'm hoping to have some on the show. That's
yeah, absolutely, 100%. And I love listening to them talk as well, and I even listen to the odd podcast of people who wear tinfoil hats, and proudly. But I remember that, like, one of the things I remember changing from when I was growing up is that, back in the days of network television and radio as well, to be honest, everybody consumed the same cultural artifacts. Like, we all had the same diet, right? We all went home and watched Miami Vice or Dallas or whatever it happened to be.
Everybody thought Ronald Reagan was a hero.
Yeah. And I mean, we all listened to the same garbage on the radio, or not, depending on the area that you grew up in.
It's true.
And everybody had those cultural. What's the word I'm looking for?
Everybody in our society knew what a Ghostbuster was like 30 days after
Yeah,
it
that's
came
like
out.
a cultural shorthand, right?
Yeah.
Like I could say, hey, that's like a Ghostbuster, and you knew exactly what I was talking about without me defining Ghostbuster.
Yeah.
And it was way more. We had that common shorthand then amongst our cohorts, our age group, even outside of our age group. You could talk to somebody 20 years older, 20 years younger, using that shorthand, and everybody knew what you were talking about. Yeah. And now, even some of the words that he uses in here that were popular in the 60s, like, I don't recognize them. It's like I had to look that up. And it's kind of like that. And now, like, oh my God, like everybody, I think it was Douglas Copeland who, in his Generation X novel, I think it was Generation X if I'm not mistaken, had invented a word called neologisms. And then he had in the marginalia of the book all of these different kind of terms that he had made up for, now whether they were, stolen from the culture or he made them up for his fiction, I don't know. But he would describe what these words would mean, and so it was kind of, it helped in the context of telling the story of the novel. And now we're making neologisms like every freaking day. There's a new way of saying things, and it's almost that they're coming at you so fast that you don't even get to learn them properly, or let alone use them in context before they're gone. It's like, well, why are you saying that? That was so last week.
Yeah.
So where was I going with this now? I think it's
one of the interesting examples of that's happened in recent years to me is when people will in spoken conversation sometimes say hashtag. Like that's interesting. Like hashtag triggered or whatever, right?
Yeah,
like,
hashtag blast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, just going back into this is the, I remember what I was going to say now was the insight you get from a memoir or an autobiography into how that person became that person.
Yeah.
Is my new love and fascination.
I like that stuff too, and it's valuable because it is inspiring. And it's also comforting. You see, other people's internal thought processes weren't always confident. People make mistakes. Like you learn.
Hugely, totally.
We relate to each other through hearing somebody else's story a lot. And I think that's important.
And I wonder now if, living through the 60s into the 70s, being kind of a rock star, being like a musical god to so many people, an inspiration.
Yeah.
What will, in 30 years from now, what will the Donald Fagen of 30 years from now relate in terms of how they became, the new Donald Fagen? Because of the AI that's going on. I mean, there's really, like, we're taking away the time to bake. It's almost like you're putting a cake in the oven, and like 5 minutes or 2 minutes later, you're pulling it out, and it's a fully baked cake.
Well, things have been accelerating though since the Industrial Revolution.
Yes, but it's dedefinitely hockey sticking now. You know what I mean? It's like it's. I mean, yeah. Somebody I was talking with a while back, I said, Lex, there were another musician. We're working on some songs together, and I said to him, like, no other point in history have things been changing so much as, like, no other generation has seen this much change. He said, "Are you kidding?" And I said, "Well, what do you mean?" And he says, "The steam locomotive." Like he was, okay, but that was like one or two in your entire life. It wasn't one a week.
Yeah, it gets crazier and crazier. But yeah, the acceleration motion has been a thing for a while.
Yeah. And I think that's it. I mean, I remember a long time ago with software, somebody was doing a public speak or whatever, and they said they were saying the average executive needed to learn one or two new programs, software, a year.
Yeah.
And now it's like one a week.
Yeah.
You know, now it's almost like one a day. Like it depends on what area you're working in. But it's
I agree.
like, are we weren't like the rate of change that's coming at us far exceeds our own biology and our own evolution. You know, we just weren't made for that amount of change. You know, I mean, for a little while ago, you know, there were the language people who were trying to change the language, you know, and how we used words we've been using for hundreds and hundreds of years. And it was too much. It was all at once, and it was too much. And a lot of people just threw up their hands and went, "Yep, nope, not doing that."
Yeah.
You know, and so there we are now. So that was number one.
Well, can I, before you go on to number two, can I make one more comment about memoirs?
Yeah, definitely.
You brought up that you're writing yours, and then I said I'm doing a version of mine.
Yes,
because
yes.
I'm writing my lifelong trauma story as a podcast.
As a podcast, but then also hopefully as a book.
Yeah, very possibly. And what I've learned so far in this writing process is that, well, let me just say, most people, I think, don't think their lives are exciting enough or is interesting enough to make a memoir. I think most people think that.
Agreed.
And I think most people are wrong.
Agreed.
And I've learned from starting to write, the trick is to willing, and this is the scary part, you have to be willing to really investigate and describe for other people your internal processes. What was happening to you internally, what your thoughts and fears were in the moment, and describe it. And if you do that, it's fucking interesting to anybody because they want to know what your fears were, what your what your issues were that were unique to you. But it's very it's like being naked in front of a crowd, man. It's very difficult to do, to bring yourself to that point.
Yeah.
But I'm starting to do that, and I'm realizing that, man, this is fucking really captivating stuff. But you have to be honest. Like you can't say, "Oh, I met this guy at 7-Eleven. He was nice," right? You have to talk about your fears of going in there, how you were jealous of him maybe, or how he made you intimidated. Like you have to get into that inner world stuff and be honest and forthcoming about it. And then all of a sudden everybody's interested because they don't know what it's like to be anybody else and they're learning about it. Like that's the trick.
Well, authenticity is the key.
Yeah.
Right? So everybody says, well, you got to write your truth. And it's like, well, that's true. I mean, yep, you're right. But at the same time, if your truth is hidden from honesty, I know that sounds funny, but if your truth isn't authentic, then it's going to ring hollow.
Yeah.
Like nobody's going to get more than 3 pages into that.
Yeah. If you're worried about people pointing the finger at you and saying, "Oh, you're a loser," then you can't write a memoir effectively.
However, if that's what you're worried about, then that's where you need to write. Like you need to write from that place.
That's true too.
Yeah. No, that's I can't wait to get into the next phase of that project of yours. Yeah, that's going to be it's going to be good.
It's coming. It's going to be months yet before we're into heavy editing and stuff.
Yep.
It's coming.
But it's going to be good.
All right, your second thing from the week.
So the second thing was there's 2 parts of it actually. Part 1 was last week you were talking about. Well, it was a very simple and innocuous statement. And you just said you don't keep anything.
We were talking, specifically, we were talking about media files and that sort of thing, right? Like,
yeah, you said, I hope you have the original text file
the transcripts.
Critiques,
the text transcripts of our episodes.
Yeah, from the episodes. And I said, I keep everything.
Yeah.
I do.
Because it had only been a week and I didn't have them anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
And I left here thinking about that. Yeah. And then I thought about it for the whole week. And I think I mentioned last week as well, I have a NAS server that's come online. It's been offline since December. And I was just going through it, and it's got tons and tons and tons of old stuff, like going back, way, way back into the 80s. And I was looking at it, and I was listening to some of the recorded conversations I've had with people, like, going into the 80s, into the 90s, into the 2000s. I kind of had a real explosion in the early 2000s because, we went from microcassettes to those little digital recorders. So it was easy now. I didn't have to, and you could find them. You could just save them straight to your computer. You didn't have to digitize anything anymore. And I had, I've got hundreds of hours of this stuff, and so I grabbed a couple randoms, and just played them through the speakers. Just, I was doing housework, played these conversations. And it was so banal, so blah, blah, I thought, why am I keeping this? Not to mention that if I would ever need to use it for anything, I would have to go and get permission from that other person.
Yeah.
And I thought, dude, it's time to take a page out of Derek's playbook. It's like, let it go. And then, ironically, a couple of days later, a YouTube video from Wayne Dyer, I think that's his name, kind of a spiritualist guru, came across my feed. And it was about letting go. And so it was 5 minutes. I thought, oh, okay, what does he have to say? And it was so convicting because it was exactly that, and I thought, all right, it's going to happen now. So middle of the week, Wednesday or so, I fired up the file browser of the NAS server and I just started hacking away at it. Like I probably cleared about, I don't know, maybe a terabyte and a half.
How did that hit your nervous system? As a traumatic event or as like freeing?
Yeah, there was some fear.
Was there? Yeah.
There was some fear. This is like, oh, am I doing the right thing here? Should I be getting rid of that?
Yeah.
And of course, I bring in this to show you because you're the only other person I know who would laugh or who would get it. But I have 4, a coil notebook, and then 3 more of those.
Yeah,
those
they're
dual
four
tanks that expand.
4 large like coil notebook duotang type things.
Yeah, and each of them is like 365 pages, and it's essentially 1 year at my old work where I documented everything that I did.
I almost wish we could show this in the podcast. They are several years worth of books in which Dad documented his tasks through each workday.
Each workday.
And I really liked the story, the way you put it, where like you had the ability to, if you were asking for a raise or talking to your boss, to literally show him everything you'd done.
Yeah, or under new management, if there was an employee review, I could just bring these and bang them onto the table and.
I can't imagine.
Do you have any questions?
Being the supervisor that gets handed this 365-page coil notebook of every task you've done in the past year, like,
for each year that I was there. Yeah,
that's phenomenal.
Some say it's a sickness, but. Anyway.
Well, it's interesting, right?
But it's time to let go. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but it's time to let go. Like as in, like it's almost a way of growing up now. Do you know what I mean? Like that was all from a younger era, and I'm done with that now.
You have an overwhelming amount of data.
I do. And like we're talking terabytes, and like we're talking, 40, 50, 60 terabytes of data that I need to stop dragging with me. And that was what this Wayne Dyer talk was all about. It was about, most people carry, their thoughts and their feelings and their emotions and all that like a backpack full of, manure, right? And they're wondering why their life stinks. It's like, well, just let that stuff, just leave it on the side, just go, let it go, leave it behind. And that really spoke to me, as did your comment, last weekend. And so that began a cascade now of deletions in my life.
And I think that's probably largely positive, but I can understand how you got to where you were. Because, so value comes from scarcity, right? So if the scarcity of something makes it valuable, you start collecting it because it's valuable. But then because you're collecting it, at some point you have too much of it and its value starts decreasing. And then you have a bunch of stuff that's no longer valuable. Like let me kind of explain this to you a different way. In 1992, I was 17 years old. And for a brief period of time, I had a camcorder back then. I ended up pawning it for booze or something, but I had it for like a short time. And we made some videos, me and my friends. They are long lost to history. I haven't seen any of those videos in over 30 years. But if somebody found one, I don't know what the limit to what I would do to get my hands on that tape is. Like, I want that fucking tape. Because that era, like, any documentation of my life at that era basically doesn't exist. It's so scarce that it's valuable to me, right? But if everything I'd done in 1992 was recorded and documented and I'd always had it, I'd never look at it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's
but not having that in 1992 could teach the modern me how important it is to document things. Mm-hmm. But if I start documenting everything, then I'm going to have hordes of it, and at some point, it's like I've got all this useless garbage.
Well, it's the same thing as a documentary filmmaker shooting 200 hours of footage. Like, why on earth have you got 200 hours of footage? You clearly didn't know what you were doing.
Yeah, you'd need a team of people just to go through it.
I mean, what's his name? Werner Herzog has some. Very funny insults for people who shoot 200 hours of footage for a documentary.
I'm sure. But if you have a team of people to keyword it, it is interesting. Like, to be able to go to your computer and type in the keyword laughing and have every piece of laughing footage you've ever shot in your fucking life pop
Yeah.
up instantly. Like
Yeah.
that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it can become a bit gimmicky, like after a while. Do you know what I mean? Like it's almost like, oh, that's a perfect documentary. Every note was on point, and it's kind of like, yeah, but that's not the point of a documentary, though.
Useful for newsrooms.
Yeah,
if,
useful.
if you need every tornado piece of tornado footage you have.
We need a dash hound, howling at the moon. It's like, okay, all right, there it is.
Yeah.
Great. But yeah, the thing I guess is that when you document everything, I mean, and if I were to go, all like, psychoanalytic on myself, I would have to say that the reason that I kept that, at least, I'm pointing right now to those duotangs of daily records, is because I grew up in an era where credentialing was still a big deal.
Yeah.
And I didn't. I took a year of university and had to drop out because I failed calculus. I failed it so badly, there was no hope for me.
Oh, wow.
And so I went and talked to my professor and said, what should I do? And he goes, quit? He said, have you had a tutor? I said, yeah, I had a tutor. He says, oh yeah, no, there's no hope.
Wow.
And that was it. So then no computer science for me, no architecture for me, because it was all, you had to have a calculus prereq for year one.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
Developers today don't know calculus.
No, and it's also not, it's an option for architecture. And it's like, what? Again, that was the era I was born in. But, I think I've always had to, had a little bit of a chip on my shoulder that it's like, do you want to talk about doing the work? How's this for you?
Yeah,
it was just kind of one of those things where it's like I could always pull up, I said I did this? Well, here's the proof, right? I was part of the television crew of whatever show. Yeah, here's a cast photo.
Our life experiences do literally shape us.
Yeah.
That's another thing I'm learning writing this memoir bit I'm doing. 100%.
Yeah. But I think now it's like I've said this a few times to different people in other contexts. I really have nothing left to prove now, and I think that's made the era that I'm living in now at my particular age, this decade that I'm living in, so much more enjoyable. It's just like, I don't have to prove anything. I just feel so unburdened by the necessity to prove myself. It's just like, fuck you.
This is a good way to segue into some Fritter Hollow stuff. We should get down to some business, because you're right. Like, we're hitting a point now with this project. This is only, sorry.
Before we do the Fritter Hollow thing, let me just put the part 2 of this second topic, and that is that while I myself am not going to delve into AI and all of the bountiful possibilities it brings, but I am now fully on board with recommending that others do.
Yeah.
That was the other thing that hit me this week. So yeah, it was quite a traumatic week, actually. Okay, Fritter Hollow.
I think we're hitting a point. This is only the 5th episode, but now that the podcast is on all the services and we've got the website up, we're at a point where it is time to start approaching people, get them in here, see if we can get some ideas generating. I've been working on, I'm a songwriter, and I've been working on some songs in the background. I'm getting to the point with a couple of them where it's time to record stuff. And maybe, so it's kind of coming into the scary part, the part where we're actually going to try to do the thing that we've been talking about doing for a very, very long time.
So there's nothing scary about that to me.
There is to me.
That's pure play now. Planning to me is scary.
See, and you thought you were dead weight. You're gonna be carrying me through the beginnings of this part.
Well, sure. I'm a decent sidekick. I'm good for a funny line every now and again. But I think that the putting ideas into practice, that's where I've spent most of my life.
Good, because that's the one part that I keep falling flat on my face in.
Yeah.
I'm a strong idea guy.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the implementing, I hit a number of roadblocks that usually you combine that with a little bit of shiny object syndrome, where I'm like, the next shiny object flies by and I abandon the old one. Yeah, I have that problem too.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would consider myself to be not a bad idea generator, pretty good. I don't come up with the greatest ideas, but they're okay. But what I do consider myself is to be an excellent executor, as in, that's where the vast experience I have comes into play, because it's just like, well, I've done that before, and I've done that before. This is what we need. Boom.
Yeah.
And we're doing it.
Yeah.
And it's come in handy over the last, I'd say, maybe 5 or 6 years, more so than before. But it's just.
I do think we're the right team for this.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. Yeah. I totally agree. But I also think that we're really like the show's just getting started. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's where when you start to to experience what can be done, as we mentioned, with the skills we have, the talent we have, the knowledge we have, the age that we're at, and all the gear that we have. It's like, what are we going to do with this? I mean,
it's really liberating for us to sit here and say, well, we're just going to talk to people, generate ideas, and see what comes of it. Maybe we'll make a podcast. Maybe we'll make a documentary film. Who the fuck knows? That part's really liberating. But it also means we have almost zero direction in the beginning, which I find intimidating as well as freeing. Like, like if we knew we were setting out to make a short film on the taxi business, that's a direction.
Yeah.
We don't have that. We're just going to be talking to people to see if we can find the spark to put us in a direction.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, and you're right. When you're in the realm of ideas, it's all academic.
Yeah.
Right. But we want to get into the practical now. We want to bridge that. We want to bridge those two worlds. You know, the world of academia and practical execution. And I think that this is the right platform. This is the right scenario.
I think it's even the right room.
And it's the right room, certainly for now. Like, as I say, if it catches on and people are kind of hip to it, then we'll have to get a bigger space to do this in. But
you said something earlier about this room that really, really struck me. You said, like, we were talking about how from a gear perspective, we have everything we need to get started.
Yeah.
But you said walking in here, I said walking in here felt comfortable to me.
Yeah.
And you said it felt not precious.
Yeah.
And that is 100% the right thing. Like, I don't think people are going to walk in here and feel intimidated. I don't think they're going to feel like they could break something, so they need to be careful.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that's important if we're going to get people in here and just sort of speak freely.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and in that way, it's a safe place. It's a non-judgmental place.
Yeah.
It's there isn't like a stage and a big spotlight and all the soft seats that you would normally be very intimidated by. It's a space. It's almost like a blank canvas.
Yeah.
In a way, you know, it's just, hey, what is it today? Well, it's there's some music going to be played in here, or some dude's going to rattle off their PhD, dissertation. Okay.
This is why, like, I think it's going to be really good to get a couple episodes in with other people here, because right now, if we approach somebody cold who didn't know us, I think the website does a good job at trying to explain what we're doing. But to have a couple of episodes where we actually have a third person in here, they'll be able to listen to it and get more of an idea.
Yeah, I don't know if that, like, I think they're going to be a wide enough variety of things that you're not going to see yourself in another episode. Okay, well, that's what they did with so-and-so, but that's not me. That's not what I do.
But they'll get the idea of, like, just how the conversations can kind of go, what we sound like.
Yeah, I mean, that could possibly be. But I think, and where I'm sort of going to steer this towards now is, you made a comment a few months ago, actually. You talked about the fact that you would like to do interviews, like that you would love to do like an audio podcast style interview show.
Yes, if I would be open to interviewing.
Where,
I would love that. Yeah, I could interview just about anybody that walks this planet.
Yeah.
If I had time to prepare and a short bio.
And that's and so for all of the interviewings that I have worked with, some even my own, I confess, but mostly with other people, that's just not been the case. People don't prepare, they don't read, they don't even look like, how do you say or pronounce or spell the person's name? To me, that's like, well, that's like, okay.
Yeah.
you're not doing the job. But I mean, to read up about a person, and the art of the pre-interview has so long gone left us. You know what I mean? There's some podcasters that do it. They'll get up on the phone and they'll have a chat, or they'll go out for dinner, with a podcast guest, the night before, and they'll get to know them, and then they come in, and it's almost always a much better.
That stuff's so important. Like, it makes for a better interview. Like, if the person you're interviewing has kind of an idea of what you might bring up, and you have an idea of what they might be good at responding to and what you want to know, like, the more you know in advance, the better the interview itself.
100%.
I mean, I have a natural curiosity about people, their inner worlds and thought processes, and the things they do. I have a natural curiosity about that stuff.
Yeah.
So I genuinely would want to ask.
And the way you ask questions also is very disarming, and I'm really interested in seeing that in motion.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So that's, I think that might be, what some future guest would get out of the podcast, is they would see how you operate, and then you would know what to expect.
Man, you're pumping me up to do this.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Okay.
So without naming names, we do have ideas of a couple people to approach
Yeah.
for the next one. We'll talk about that once we get the mics off.
Interesting characters. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Let's leave it there then.
Yeah. I think we're done for this week.
Congratulations on vibe coding the website. It looks fantastic.
Yeah. I'm excited to. I mean, the first people that are going to see this are the people that we're going to talk to that we know to try to get a couple of guests on.
Unless someone stumbles upon it, yeah.
Yeah, that could absolutely happen too. It will happen at some point.
Yep. Okay.
All right. Well,
Cheers,
that's this week. We'll talk again next weekend.